What's happening with you? This is the Roy C. Gilmore podcast, where real don't get no realer and it don't come with a filter. I am your host, Roy C. Gilmore. Homie, on today's episode of the Roy C. Gilmore podcast, I have a very special guest. And that special guest is a seer. Some may say oracle, others may say prophet, soothsayer, whatever you want to call it, homie. For the ones who don't know, the definition of a seer is a person who can see into the future through supernatural means. This one will be interesting. Stay tuned. Podcast guy in you know where I stay at, and he was interviewing this rapper, and the shit he was saying was diabolical.
I thought it was really funny before I got on here. Kevin Gates, I don't know if you listen to Kevin Gates, but Fatal Attraction came on.
Okay.
I thought that was kind of interesting because we're kind of like resonating on the conversation that we were talking on.
Yeah.
He talks about putting stuff in his food to trap him, and I was like, oh, that's so interesting that would come up almost like at this exact moment.
I've actually never heard that song before, but I know that Kevin Gates be on some other shit. He spit in that girl's mouth while she was on stage, and she just sat there and let a grown man that she didn't know spit in her mouth. And I'm like, yo,
but
that's
that
wild.
Song's wild because it's what it literally talks about fatal attraction and like witch stuff.
Yeah.
Like, so it's kind of wild. I mean, he definitely is in that wide world.
I've made music about that too, but never in anything of me putting something on a woman. It's always that woman putting stuff on me. But I mean, I've done sex magic, but that's between, me and my wife. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
I'm not saying that we should have done that, but you know what I'm saying? I'm being honest. We've done it. You feel me? Like, I ain't gonna sit here and lie about it, but I've never jacked off in nobody's food and had them eat it and they not knew about it. Like, that's pretty wild.
I think a lot of people have done sex magic without even
Exactly.
the unconscious do that sex magic, not even realize that's what they're doing half the time. So it's like with my ex, this is one I told you previously about where he did some weird stuff. But I told him before, when I was on my period, I was like, that's like a bond. That's a soul tie. So if we do that, no matter what, we're always gonna have some kind of tie together. Yeah. He's like, I don't care. I'm like, okay, all right, I'm sure.
Yeah, a lot of men say that in the moment, man. I'm gonna tell you something crazy, man. There have been women this lifetime that have approached me and remembered where we left off from other lifetimes. There's 3 different women that I can think of, and I didn't recognize them. But when I asked God to reveal to me who they were, and I saw where we left off at, where we met, what we did. And these women would approach me, and they would remember what our spirits did. They're on different vessels now, but they remember what our spirits did. And they remember exactly where we left off and how we said we would be together forever and things like this. And they remember that shit. So it taught me.
I can do that. I've had a couple where I've had remembrances of past life stuff. The one I was talking about, we had a past life in Egypt, and that's when we had some, in Egypt, there was always magic done. That was like one of the most prevalent magic lives. It was so heavy. The hexing, the curses, the sex magic, all those things were so heavy. And in that life, I was very bad. Like I went more power than anything else. And so in that life, I had like offed somebody. And so in our relationship, it was a very black magic type of relationship. So there's definite like remembrances, especially when you come into contact with them, like physically, especially sexually, especially as the female, you do have a lot of those memories that will come through for you and like confuse you. At least mine were always confusing because I was like, okay, well then you're a soulmate. Well, half the times these people were not who, even if they were a soulmate, it was like a toxic tie, something that you're supposed to learn about, learn through.
Exactly, man. And a lot of people don't even believe in soul ties. You believe that? Like, a lot of people don't even believe that soul ties exist and they can just have sex with whoever and sex is sex. And it's like, no,
Right.
no, that's
Sex
not
is
how that goes.
sacred. Sex
Yeah.
is super sacred. I used to, I'm very honest. I'm on the spectrum. So I say things and I say them just 10 toes. Like, I don't, I'm not going to lie. But when I was younger, I was very hypersexual. I was very active with different men. Like, never when I was in a relationship, but I was very active. And so, like, to me, because of the way I was raised, I didn't have that, I didn't have any self-worth. And so I really didn't think it was sacred. I didn't think it was anything like that until obviously I got older, started to be more conscious of myself, conscious of my behavior, conscious of the things that I called in karmically towards myself as well. Right. And now, like, I'm celibate. I was celibate for 2 years before I met this last person who was very magic. And I had some very strong boundaries, but that person was very good at how he spoke and the talk right. that he talked. And I'm definitely celibate again, because it's very sacred. And when you give power to people, that's exactly what you're doing. You're giving power to these people, and you don't know if they're going to have a negative effect on your body, on your mind, on your soul, until it happens. And being old enough now, it's like, dang, I wish I would have known when I was younger what was going on when I was like being active with all these people.
Yeah. When that girl put reflection spells on me, blood magic, I'm not sure she put anything in my food, but definitely binding spells, lots and lots of binding spells, honey love jar spells, just a lot of different fucking crazy shit. Anything to get me to not leave her. She even tried to kill my wife. I went to my mother's house because the further I got away from her, for some reason, the connection got weaker. So like the further I got away from her, the more I was able to fucking think clearly. So
right.
I would go to my mother's house every fucking weekend just to get a break from that crazy fuck. And one night while I was asleep, she astral projected into the room I was in, and I knew it was her. You know, I know energy has a certain feel, a certain smell.
Right.
So I fucking knew it was her. And I'm instantly saying, no, hell no. Just go back to where the fuck you came.
Listen, my ring light just went off. And I'm not gonna lie, I got super chills when you started talking about her, and then my ring light just turned off. That's wild.
She was
no! All right, well, get this off.
She was a and it was crazy because she was such a sweet girl. You know, looking at her, you would never guess that that's who she was. But this woman was very, very, very talented in both sides, you know, light and dark.
It just came back on when you called her talented. That's wild. So
let me start talking about her.
Questions?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm a seer. So I'm not a witch. I don't associate to that because I feel like a lot of people who associate, and I have nothing against them either, but there's a lot to do with giving your power away to deities and to other gods and goddesses. And I don't align to that. I just align to the creator. And so I do have I'm like a magnet, essentially. So when people speak about things and when they talk about certain things, it's almost like it magnetizes towards me. And so I'm not gonna lie. Now my phone's dying too. Okay, it's so weird. I don't know what's going on with everything right now.
Well, let me stop talking about her because her birthday is tomorrow.
Shut.
Yeah.
Okay, well then she can definitely feel the conversation being had right now. Like my phone's dying, the ring light's going on and off.
Well, yeah, let me shut the fuck up and let's change the topic. Because I promise you, I don't want no fucking smoke with her.
I do have a couple questions.
What's up?
About it. Now, you said she was real sweet. Now, so there was no vindictiveness. There was no, evil intentions, ill intentions. It was just more so she's just trying to keep you.
Well, she tried to kill my fucking wife. So, I mean, you know.
That's ill intention for sure.
Yeah, but her thing was just me. Me. She wanted me. And we
an obsession.
Yeah, she told me she's obsessed with me, and it was revealed later on that she had chased me for many lifetimes on the same type of energy, and I asked for it to be revealed. You know, how did this all begin? And I saw me and her both got accused of a crime, and we were punished illicitly for it. And me and her got revenge on the people that we that punished us. And from that point forward, we kind of went on a spree of just getting revenge. And in that process, we kind of created this dark bond. And you know, I grew out of that as I freaking came back and died. My spirit evolved from that darkness. Hers did not. So whenever our spirits reconnect, she's kind of still in the same mindset of let's create some chaos. And
right.
It's been that. And I mean, I remember that once I learned the history behind me and her, I tried to apologize to her like, hey, that happened lifetimes ago. Like, we're not the same people. Can we move past this? And again, she didn't want to hear it. So it was like, you can't make anybody do anything they don't want to do, you know?
Right. Do you feel like do you follow with the like karmic and stuff? Do you feel like she's karmic?
I know she's karmic. Hell yeah. I'm married to my twin flame.
Okay, that's cool. I don't even know who my twin flame is.
Man, listen.
I have no idea. I'm just over here just living my life.
So I manifested my wife. I fasted for 4 years. I was celibate 4 years. And the intention was to cleanse myself of anything that negative attached to me, any trauma, hurt, anything. And then at the end of it, I asked God to send me my wife, the woman that he made for me. And I met my wife and I asked him, is this the woman you made for me? And I got sign after sign after sign after sign after sign. She did the same thing, sign after sign after sign after sign. So, but as you know, with twin flame unions, they can be very fucking chaotic.
Yeah.
And typically with twin flame unions, the karmic soulmates, they try to interfere.
They stay around. Yeah. I have one who I love very much. So if he's the false, he's a very good false. He's an addict. So his problem is I have addiction to people. So usually I would call in these men who have addictions to, you know, whatever else. And so he's dying. He's from a past life. Where he actually killed me with alcohol, and so this life he actually has cirrhosis of the liver, and as well as other addictions. And so every time we come in contact, well, we don't come in contact, he's in Colorado, but every time we come close to communicating, I can feel my person furthering from me because he kind of pushes his energy out.
Crazy how that works, right?
It is. It's very crazy. And you can feel it. You can feel it just in your life. You can feel how God gets farther away. And even this man has a cross on his chest and everything, but he's allowed his demons to overtake him and to push him away from God as well. And so like it really overtakes your whole world when you're around anybody, whether it be physically or just quantum entanglement, you know, where you're speaking to them on a daily basis. It does. You can feel all of that energy.
It's funny you say that, man, because there's a lot of things I want to say. For one, she admitted to me later down the line the things she did to me, because I asked her. I'm like, I always believed in witchcraft and love spells, but I never believed in it happening to me. I guess I was arrogant. I don't know. You know, but I asked her and she told me yes. And she told me the spells she put on me, and she told me why she did them. And I remember, so when you have something on you, it's like, depending on what it is, it's almost like two different entities fighting over your vessel. So there are certain things that I remember, certain things I can't remember. Other things feel like visions or dreams, where I would sleep and I just kind of have like fragments of it. But I remember whenever me and her would have sex, man, it would be the most supernatural, most powerful thing ever. Like you said, your lights and things were flickering. We had the TV off when we was having sex, and me and her, I know how to, know how to use my sex energy. I do. I fast, and I know how to charge my sex energy up and use it to manifest what I want. And I remember we were having sex, and the TV started flickering. And then this really, really bright light just happened, and then it cut off. And me and her stopped, and the whole energy in the room just shifted. And I got fucking scared. I'm like, what portal did we just open, and what the fuck did we just let into this room? And we was recording ourselves having sex, man. I know, fuck. But
it's definitely creating a portal of some kind.
Yeah, we was recording ourselves, and when we went back and watched the video, you could see thousands, maybe even millions of angel orbs in the video. It was just fucking floating around us, man, and it's fucking scary. It was scary, but it made me think about that when you said the freaking about the energy and things like that, man. It's crazy, and a lot of people don't believe in it, and it's like, man, like, I don't know. I don't know whether, if I could go back, I don't know whether I would choose to be ignorant, because I mean, there's a certain form of bliss that comes with ignorance. And certain knowledge, certain knowledge, man, it can lead to fucking psychosis if you know too much.
Absolutely. Yeah. When I first became like really, really awakened, I had left my ex-husband, and I went into a psychosis. Like, I had lost my mom, and then like 2 years later, I just lost it all. I lost, and you were talking about that energy taking over you. So I actually had named mine. Mine was called Hell, and she's a death goddess. And so I have like a lot of sexual trauma, which opened a lot of doors when I was little. And so it opened this door into this energy, Hell, because I was already in the energy of Hell. And so she was, especially with this past person, she was really prevalent. Like, she could talk. She talked through me. It was like I thought I had multiple personalities. And I don't know if I do, or if it was just a manifestation of this shadow energy that had lived with me my whole life or whatever. But like, with certain people, karmics, she would get stronger, and she would like antagonize their energies, and she would antagonize their spirits and their demons. And now, since I've cut off everything and gone, celibate and continued my journey with God and stuff, she's all but disappeared. I don't know if she is my shadow. You can't get rid of your shadow. You need your shadow, obviously, for boundaries when people overstep, but I don't hear her. She doesn't talk. There's no communication. And now I have my higher self, who I do entangle with a lot. She's very much like a blight, kind of like, I would say, angelic a little bit, but I understand what you mean. And that's in the Bible. They talk about it. I don't know where my Bible is, but they talk about how the man was given an angel and a devil. And this is totally like a real thing, where we are given the angel of darkness and the angel of light on both sides, so that we can kind of essentially be tempted. Like, God did put into us like this level of temptation for us, I do believe, for free will, to figure out, like, you're never going to learn right from wrong until you learn right from wrong. That means falling. And I don't believe God's like a vengeful God or like a merciless God. I believe God's just trying to teach us, as a father does and a mother does. They want you to learn. So you have to go through these trials of understanding what the dark looks like and what the light looks like, and how to navigate through that. And then by doing that, you can, figure out which side you're going to fall on. Because obviously that's our choice. We can fall on the dark side, or we can fall on the light side. That's something that I think really determines if we're going to come back. That's my belief is, I do believe I'm on my last life here, and I don't think I'm going to come back here anymore. I think I've learned a lot of the reasons I reincarnated, because I couldn't learn those laws, and I kept having to learn that karma. I think that once we become truly awakened to ourselves and that ability to hold ourselves like accountable, that's when we decide to, okay, fine. All right, God.
Yep.
Let's stop fucking around. I'm off the streets. Take me off.
Yeah, essentially, man. Essentially, I'm done with the streets, man. But I applaud that. I respect that. Just being conscious enough to, because a lot of people, they'll be conscious and they'll still choose to give in to their lower vibrations. I tell people all the time, lower vibrations are fleshy. They feel good.
Are we good? Okay.
Okay, yeah. But I tell people all the time that lower vibrations are hedonistic. They feel good. Drugs, freaking alcohol, sleeping around, it all feels, it's good to your flesh.
That fleshly temptation, yeah.
Yeah, so but you have to essentially die to the flesh and kind of just focus on your soul's journey. Because I have and I haven't posted it yet because it's very, very deep. But I have this recording for my podcast called, what is it called? Called Flesh versus Spirit or something like that, where my flesh and my spirit is having a conversation, and my flesh is it's the little brother, and my spirit is the big brother, and they're arguing for who gets control.
Right.
And the flesh is saying, I want to take care of you by doing what feels good. And the spirit is saying, I want to take care of you, but what feels good ain't good. Let me lead the way. And they both clashing and arguing for control. So it's a very, very interesting thing. Yeah, but it's I don't know, it's very personal, man, because it's like I was talking about, it's almost like, because I had wrote a suicide note a couple of years ago, and I tried to fucking off myself. I think that comes with everybody who's on a spiritual journey. You get to a point where you just want the shit to be over. But I wrote this suicide note, and after a lot of debating, I put it on one of my albums, and people heard it, and people was like, "Bro, that's so deep. I love it. I listen to it going to work. I listen to it when I'm at work. You know, I take it back home and I play it while I'm reading." I'm like, "Bro, it's a fucking suicide note. What are you doing? It's not anything high vibrational. What are you doing?" But it kind of let me know that people relate to a lot of that type of stuff, because I'm not the only one struggling with freaking life. So
Right.
I think that it would be very beneficial to post it. Every time I hear it, it's like such a strong energy. So I haven't edited it yet, because I don't want to be in that fucking energy. But one of these days, I'm gonna fucking edit it, man, and then put it out. I'm gonna put it out. And
I think those are really important. Like, I do agree with you. People, especially when you become conscious of your, like, the bullshit you put yourself through, which is 99.9% of everything we go through, we've signed up for and agreed to, and then decide to do in this life.
Yeah.
I was gonna off myself, and I have 3 kids, and I was just so down, so overtaken by society's like depression and like obligation to the false self, that false ego that people perceive of us. And I didn't know what I was gonna do, and I'm lucky that psychosis kind of drew me out of that space, because I think a lot of people do go through that space where it's like, what, it's better to just not deal with what that reality of, oh shit, I am the problem. I did cause most of my, like, yeah, our childhood trauma is totally not a part of that. But as we grow up to be adults, and the choices that we make, and the people that we hurt, and how we hurt ourselves, and like the people we love, it's hard to understand. I think that's the scariest part when you become conscious, is you really realize that you were the devil for yourself. Like, you engaged in that behaviors that caused yourself to feel like a victim, in that victim mindset. And some people, it's hard to get out of there. It's hard for them to realize, like, you can't blame that on anybody else. That really is you. I think that's why a lot of people do, go into, I hate saying that word, because it's very low vibrational. And like, I have a lot of religious trauma. My aunt, she's very, very Christian, and like, you're going to hell, like, if you're not virgin, you're going to hell, and you kill yourself, you're going to hell. I don't believe that. Like, I don't engage in that behavior. I think you're just going to come back here. You're going to have to keep doing it over and over and over and over and again. And suicide, I've lost people to suicide. And like I say, a lot of us who have chosen ourselves to be conscious have had many missteps with suicide, and self-harm and all of that stuff. And I think it's really crazy how, I don't know about you, but I tried a billion times. Like, I used to do the stupidest shit. I used to hang out with gangs, and I used to roll around this hood, and I would just do, I would do drugs and all kinds of things, and just walk around all by myself. And, I was like, okay. I had no fear of nothing, but at the same time, I was hoping something would happen. Yeah. And so, like, I can only imagine God, Jules, or whatever, just like, this girl. She's a problem. She's a problem. Because now I'm like, I see how God literally won't allow that shit. There's people placed here to speak on and to teach on and educate others who need that. So I think it is important that eventually you put that out, no matter how low vibrational it may feel for you. It's going to be something of worth to another person and their understanding as well.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm very much aware of my lower self, but I try not to deal with that motherfucker, because that bitch is homicidal, and I don't like that. I don't fucking like it, you know what I'm saying? All he want to do is fucking kill people, you know what I'm saying? So I don't want to deal with him, man. So I tend to starve him, you know what I'm saying? Because that guy has problems. So
I think that's what we do too. We got to starve them out until they're not able to control, right? Yeah. There's like a lower level, like you said, like the control. I always think of it like a video game. Like, I don't know if you know Sims, but my ear's going off. But like in the Sims, they got that little star above, and who's really controlling that star is God, obviously. And then that the sim is like our higher self trying to lead us to where we're supposed to go, but we're such idiots being led by our fleshly desires and our fleshly temptation to be of the world because we're in the world, but we don't realize that we're supposed to be unattached from these behaviors. But it's not easy. This shit's not easy at all.
Nah, it's not, man. I there was a point in time where I did a past life reading, and escapism was a big thing for me, and I've tried that shit this lifetime too. If I could go and live in a cave and just learn the lessons that I have to and just ascend, I would. My lesson, yeah, hell yeah. I think Prophet Elijah tried that shit, and it didn't work for him either, because he had to go and stop Jezebel's psychotic ass, and even she tried to fucking kill him. So it's like, fuck, man. But part of my lessons deals with people. So if I go and hide in a cave, then I'm gonna come back. So, and a part
Can I
of my
ask you what your birthday is?
It's April 13th.
So you are a
Aries.
Aries. Oh, that's right. You're an Aries. Have you looked into Matrix Destiny stuff?
Matrix Destiny? I haven't heard of that.
So it's obviously it goes off your planetary stuff, but it's numbers, right? So it's like frequencies. My number is number 9, and that's
okay.
So mine is like life path is humanitarian, which is cool. Like I like people, I guess. But my number kind of, because then if you look at the back end of it, I'm a hermit. Like my psychiatrist is like, you stay in the house, you realize you'll give yourself agoraphobia. And I'm like, yeah, I'd rather be alone. You know, so I totally understand that escapism. So essentially, like, it does tell you your karmic tale, where my karmic tale, the energies that it comes out to is magic, black magic, and I think it's called wizard or sorcery or some shit. So like in my past lives, I was in some kind of occult or cult or black magic, where I was using it in a negative pattern and creating karmic patterns in my life that eventually obviously caused me problems. And so in this life, to what I believe is like graduate or whatever, you use your karmic pattern to ascend, essentially, like that consciousness, that conscious behavior. So in this life, I've written a book, right? And it kind of is on like, I don't want to say it's like on the Bible, but it kind of like gets you to be aware of what the Bible's speaking on and the spirits and how to become conscious and how to not allow all those things that come along with being of the flesh to overtake you. And so this is my way not to gatekeep being conscious and being somebody, because when you're conscious, you're manipulating the matrix. You're understanding how to use that energy in a way that you're not oppressed anymore by that societal pattern. Now you are above the matrix. You are that glitch, right? So in being able to pretty much use your karmic pattern to accelerate your graduation, your understanding of why God in you designed your life to be the way it was or is, I guess. It's really cool. I don't do astrology. My autism's not really good with numbers, but this one's more like I mean, it's numbers too, I'm not gonna lie, but it goes in accordance with tarot, which I understand tarot, so I know what it means by each energy and like how to look at it. So it's less math and more like intuition and stuff, but it helps you to kind of dissect that karma into, I don't know if you do shadow work or if you...
I've asked and I've seen who I was. Anything that I want to see, I just have to ask.
Right.
And I get the answers. That's the good part. But the bad part is I get the answers. And once you know it, you can't unknow it. Once you know it, you're held accountable. Like I said earlier, the more you know, it can drive you to fucking psychosis. So, but I've seen who I was. It got to, I've always been kind of like I am now, helping people, a spiritual advisor and a fucking warrior. I was in the military this lifetime, spiritual advisor. I've been that many lifetimes, and a little psychotic traits, but I mean, I think that comes with being chosen. I mean, fuck,
right, 100%.
We fucking here on this floating rock, and these people, they don't care about anything about but sex and money, and it's like, bro, like, what the fuck? You can't take it with you. Stop.
Right.
I mean, I'm not too fond of Earth. I'm not. I don't know what made me.
This planet is a prison.
It is. I'm not fond of here, man. I don't know what I was thinking when I agreed to come here, but I think maybe somebody hyped it up and I was like, yeah, let's go. But now I'm here.
You fucker.
Yeah, like, nah, man. They got us fucking paying for water and fucking paying to live in places and shit, man. Like, think about this. We buy land. But who does the money go to? Who owns the earth? So when we buy land on the earth, who does that money go to? Who are we paying to get this land?
Right.
And then when we born, we get social security numbers, which is essentially serial codes.
Yeah.
Like we're fucking merchandise. And it's like, bro, whose idea was it to send me here?
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't fucking like it, man. Like, I'm a fucking human. I'm not a potato at a grocery store. So why do I have a fucking barcode? I don't agree with a lot of the things that go on here. I don't. If it was up to me, I'd send another fucking flood. You know, God would send another flood, man, and just fucking wipe this bitch out. And we restart. Everybody that's conscious gets to stay. All the dumbasses, you can fucking drown. You know what I'm saying? If it was up to me, that's what I would do. But hey, I woke up this morning. Population is still strong. Fuck, man, we're here. You know what I'm saying? I'm learning to like, not even like people, but kind of see people the way that God does, you know, because I know at one point in time I wasn't the most likable person. I was mean, but, you know, a little homicidal, you know, so I mean, I guess the thing would be patience, patience and learning that people are a sum of what they know. So if you see a person and they're a piece of shit, they're only that way because of what they know in that moment.
Right.
You don't know who they'll be 5-10 years from now. They may be that way then, but 5-10 years from now they're a counselor advising the youth and helping people. So you can't judge people for where they're at because you don't know where they're going. And I think once you have that knowledge, anger and rage and unforgiveness has no place residing in you because you know people change. They do it. And you don't know a person's purpose. So we see the homeless people on the street, and hell, Steve Harvey was homeless at one point, and now he's a fucking millionaire. You know, so it's like once you know stuff like that, when you see people, you don't necessarily see their flesh, you see more of their spirit.
Right.
And you kind of have to hold yourself accountable. Like, don't get mad at him. This is what he knows. So instead of shitting on him, how about you give him a little bit of game, pray for him.
Right. Plant them seeds.
Yeah. Plant the seeds of hope and leave, because you don't know what that may do for him. You don't know what that may inspire in him. So you're in this man's face, you're in his aura. Do something that means something instead of cutting him down and tearing him down. That's what it means. Oh, go ahead.
I always try to think, because I'm with you on that. I dislike people. So because of my trauma, I pretty much hated people. Yeah. And I was really angry. Like I said, I hung out with the gangs because those gangs had the same attitude that I had, you know, and so I was very violent and really like lived in that violence. Obviously, like when I had kids, I couldn't be that same person anymore. I didn't want to be that. So as a mom, the best thing that I've been able to like understand for my consciousness is like I became more conscious of my behavior through my kids. So now I do like I just think about everybody's inner kids, like who was that person before they were like this? Who was that little kid? What did they miss? What did they not get? What is it that I can kind of plant in there for that little child in them to kind of like deconstruct, you know, and see if they can get it, because it's like a bad dog. You know, like a bad dog's only a bad dog because of the way that dog was trained. And so, and dogs they're always trainable. Like for the most part, dogs are always trainable. And you just have to understand that dog was given that owner. That owner did not give it what it needed to become, you know, a good dog. So that's how I kind of see people around. And then if I can try to, I know it sounds so horrible, but manipulate their energy in a way where I can get them to fall back from their like shitty behavior and kind of get into that little kid in them. I do. Like I'm one of those moms who are like, okay, I see what's wrong with you. You didn't have a mom figure. Your mom didn't give you love and attention. So that's when I'm gonna give you, oh, okay, sugar. Okay, all right, honey. You know, or if they had a tough dad or whatever, or like a mom who was too strict, or they needed a strict mom, you know, be that tough love. where that person needs a little bit of that guidance in a certain way, I always try to recognize that child in them that didn't receive whatever it was that they needed to receive, which is why they are where they are now.
Right. My wife has this saying that we're all little kids running around pretending to be grown-ups. You know, because
pretty freaking much.
Yeah,
I agree 100%.
Yeah, like, because a lot of people, they're trying to live out childhood fantasies that they never got to accomplish. And it's like, I never thought about it like that, but it makes sense. It makes sense. I mean, I had a very freaking violent childhood. So, I mean, that explains the freaking crazy behavior and things like that. But when my mother died, it's crazy how a lot of people who hate life, they hate it because they haven't lived long enough. Once you see the cycle repeat itself enough times, you kind of understand, like, when it's your time to go, it's your time to go. And if you have not learned enough or learned what you were supposed to learn while you were here, your ass is coming back. So 100%. Instead of focusing on liquor and alcohol or fucking drugs and who you gonna fuck next, just do the shadow work, man, because a lot of people will go to the root lady to attract them money or to attract them a man, and it's like, if you do the shadow work and you heal yourself, you know, how does it go? As above, so below, as within, so without. If you heal what's going on in here, you can attract whatever you want.
100%, yeah.
There's a difference between manifestation and manipulation. Manipulation is manipulating energy, typically energy that you shouldn't be dealing with. Manifestation is attracting things to you. So if you heal yourself, your money is equivalent to what's going on inside of you. Your relationships is a reflection of what the fuck is going on inside of you. So if you are full of trauma and hate and bitterness and you attract a man or a woman that fucking beat you and cheat on you, and that's why. That's why.
Right.
You know, and it's like, I get a lot of women as clients, and I fucking hate that because women don't fucking listen.
I get a lot of men, and I can tell you they don't listen either. I just feel like I'm a concept for them to stare. They're like, yeah, you're so right. That's so weird. And I'm like, I can't stand you.
Listen, I get women that come to me about warlocks a lot, and I'll look into it, and most of the times the guy's not a warlock. He's just a man that hurt them, and they envision him to be the big bad wolf, and they just kind of exaggerate. He must be a warlock for him to do that to me. No, it's just a man that didn't see your worth, so he dogs you out. That's it. But for the ones that do have warlocks, I'll tell them what the guy's doing. I had one woman, she came to me and was like, this guy is, he's drawing sigils on me during sex, and he wants to come in me during a full moon. He fucks me in my period, and he's taking my panties and all this other shit. And I told her how to, cut the cords and things like that. And then I heard something dropped in my spirit and said, you're wasting your time. So I asked her, I said, when the last time you fucked this man? And she was like, early this morning. And I said, early this motherfucking morning, like, so what's really going on? Like, and she was like, I want to leave, but the sex is too good. And I said, so is he putting witchcraft on you against your free will, or is he putting something on you and you are aware and you choose
consensual?
To stay? Yeah, because he's fucking you. And she was like, I'm not gonna lie, I know I shouldn't, stay, but he just fucked me too good. And I said, well, why are you talking to me? And she was like, FaceTime me right quick. I said, hell no, I'm not FaceTiming you, because you
I don't want none of that toxic shit.
Yeah, I don't want none of that. And like, she was flirting with me, and I'm like, and I asked her, I'm like, keep it real with me. Do you want to fuck me? And she's like, you fine as fuck. Yes. And I'm like, blocked. I get a lot of women like that, man. And it's like,
well, that energy just it's a siphoner. So if a woman is consensual in that siphoning with the wizard, she's going to want to siphon it off somebody as well, because she herself is being depleted. So she wants to deplete somebody else as well.
A lot of the women I come across, man, they kind of make me regret being a spiritual advisor, because it's like, I feel like you're wasting my time. You pay this money just to fucking, and I'm more of a therapist than a fucking spiritual advisor.
Right.
At this point, it's not about anything spiritual. You essentially want me to tell you that you're right. You want me to tell you that what you're doing is okay.
You feel better.
Yeah, complaining about this man doing this stuff to you, and you're seeing these demonic figures at night, and you're having these visions, and it all goes away when he comes to you and tries to fuck you. And you want me to do what again? Because I can tell you how to do a cord cutting, but that requires free will.
Right. And not bringing that cord back too.
Yeah. You do a cord cutting and you go and suck his dick. What the fuck?
That's the whole point of that.
Yeah, what the fuck? Fucking stop being weird. Like, it's crazy. Women, and then when you try to tell them that the man is a warlock and they shouldn't be doing it, they'll argue with you. But I love him. We're in love. Well, why are you coming to me, ma'am? Why are you coming to me? You want me to tell you that it's okay? And they tell me I know it's wrong, but I can't leave him. And it's like with women, when somebody puts something on you, there is a certain level of confusion. Because when that girl put the love spells on me, she asked me about 7 months in, did I love her? And she asked me, do you love me or do you think what we have is just because of the spells? And I told her, I said, motherfucker, you've been putting shit on me since you met me. I don't know if what I feel is real or not. I've been confused the entire time. Mm-hmm. So for you to ask, I don't know. I just know that when I get a break and the spell wears off, I fucking run from you. So if I had to guess, I would say, no, I'm not in love. And of course she got mad, and of course she put some more stuff on me and ran me crazy. I probably should have said that. I probably shouldn't have told her that. But I'm an honest guy, damn it. You asked me, man. You keep putting this shit on me. Damn it, you done tried to kill my fucking wife. You know, you doing all this shit. I was losing weight. I was sick.
I was super sick. I was, so I ended up, like, I'm very honest. So I ended up getting pregnant by him. And that was his plan. He wanted to get me pregnant. And that was like the third time. And as the baby grew, I became sicker and sicker and sicker. It was like the baby was now siphoning from me. And it was harder to get away from him. It was like, because I would try to cut cords, right? And I try to put boundaries up and like bind him away from me. But because of the baby, it's not easy. You can't really do that. He would be able to bypass those boundaries almost so easily, you know. And he would cook me food. He cooked me food all the time, and I would question him, like, are you putting stuff in my food? Like, I don't know what you're doing. And there's some food I straight just threw away because I would just have these weird fucking feelings about them. Unfortunately, I ended up not having the baby. It was my best bet to get away from him and to release that tie. And that was a really horrific thing for me to deal with, because it's, like I said, I have a lot of religious trauma. And so I'm not against it, but I'm not for it for myself. And so for me to have to come to that decision, because I knew this man was something that would be, I don't even want to say the death of me, but the death of my soul is how I felt. I felt like if I stayed with this man, I was going to lose myself. Because like you said, when I would get away from him, my higher self is like, no, you are not happy. I would start getting angry every time he texts me, like, no, you know something's going on. You know something's not right. But then as soon as he came here, I start getting confused, and I'm like, well, maybe I do love him. Maybe I do love him. And I'd ask him, I'm like, do you love me? And he was a good talker though. He was like, I don't know if he really did magic, like, you know, herbs and stuff, but his words, he was very much a word warlock. He knew how to use his words. He knew how to put things in your brain to make you feel okay with the things that he was doing. I do believe, you know, like for some of those women, I can't speak for all of them, but you know, like at their lower conscious, they're begging to get out, but at the same time, they're so attached to their demons, their lower vibration, that like part of them is trying to crawl out, but then it just gets sucked back in because their willpower and their self-control is not where it needs to be with God or their higher self.
Themselves, yeah, man. From what I've learned, because I am very much I like to learn people. I like to hear stories and just learn. With men who struggle with keeping their dick in their pants have the hardest time with fucking witches. And women who struggle with abandonment issues and any type of fucking trauma, they fucking fall victim to warlocks, because all that man has to do is fill that void. And you're fucked. 100%. And all that woman has to do is give you pussy. And you're fucked. So I tell men, you have to get rid of that fucking, that trauma of wanting to stick your dick in everything. Like, bro, sex feels good. We're grown. It's good. Right. But sex feels better when it's with the person that's for you instead of fucking pointless women.
Right. With no worth. There's no worth behind this. You guys are just using a warm body. Exactly.
So, I mean, get out of that. And women, heal that fucking void. Just because that man calls you pretty, just because he smiles at you and he makes you feel like you're fucking floating in all of these fucking supernatural things, that man he's playing you. He's fucking
100%.
You know, he wants to get you pregnant, to trap you, and fucking just drain you slowly over time. Getting pregnant by that man, being with that man is equivalent to having stage 4 fucking cancer. And being on fucking chemo. That's how draining it will be with any witch or fucking warlock manipulating you in that fucking fashion, man. I think any witch or warlock that uses, you know, their gifts for you know, left hand type things like that, they're really, really good at seeing your flaws, seeing your trauma, and kind of developing a plan of attack to attack that. Because me,
it's very MPD. It's very MPD-ish.
Yeah, it for me, like I told you, I grew up in violence, and my lower self loves violence, but my higher self hates it.
Right.
And you know, this woman, she had this thing where she would always call me gentle. She'd be like, I don't see that rage, or I don't see that anger. I see you as a very gentle and loving man. I don't see, because I've always I've always hated being called violent, even though I know that I can fucking be that. But I hated it because I've never wanted to be that man. So this woman knew to call me gentle. She knew to be submissive. She knew that, you know, typical man loves to fuck. I'm a fucking Aries, I'm a fire sign, I'm a fucking sexaholic, you know what I'm saying? So she would fuck me as many times as I want, do whatever I wanted, cook me food, and she had this thing where she would do whatever I told her to do. You know, she respected me, she honored me, she understood my intelligence. But it was so confusing because she would read me Bible verses and then turn around and put spells on me. And when I would, you know, cut cords with her and tell her I'm done, she would say some of the most sweetest, mind-blowing things and get me gifts.
This reminds me of mine, 100%.
Yes,
Yeah, man.
It's like, bro, what the fuck is going? It's like you psych yourself out, and it's like the moment you doubt what's going on, that's when she puts spells on you because you're in a weaker state. It's like your veil between your common sense or your lower self and your higher self is the thinnest. So she would put things on me then, and her thing would always be to put honey love jar spells on me. Anytime we spoke, honey love jar spells, honey love jar spells, so that she was, anything she said it just came off as sweet. And it's like I began to have visions of her on her altar and the things she was doing. I saw the black coffin nails and the hundreds of fucking jars she had and just all of that crazy shit. And it's like I just asked her one day, why me? Out of 8 billion people, why me? And she gave me this bland ass fucking answer. She said, because you teach me things.
That's what he told me. Shut up. He said, teach me all this spiritual stuff. I'm like, shut up. That's crazy.
And to this day, I don't understand that. I'm a teacher. You know, I teach. And I teach about guns, ammunition, because I was an ammo tech in the Marine Corps, so I know about guns and all that shit. I'll teach you about spirituality. I'll teach you about anything, because I know I read a lot, so I'll teach you. But I didn't understand that until recently. I learned that women love a man that they can learn from. Women love a man they can learn from. Women love a man that's like a father figure to them. And I didn't realize that I was coming off as a father figure. And I'm like, I'm just being me. I'm not trying to be nobody's motherfucking dad. I'm just being myself. I'm a teacher. You know, I read a lot. I have a lot of freaking knowledge, and I mean, I'm a stable man. I didn't think I had to dumb myself down around people to fucking just to fit in. But she saw that and she wanted it. I think every type of fucking magic that she could have done, she done. Blood magic, but she fucking marked up my house with her menstrual blood. She would take her hair and wrap it around the bed frame of my freaking bed. She would take her hairpins and put it under the sofa and under my pillow and in my car. And it's a lot. She had this crystal she wanted to bring over and sit it on my dresser, talking about she charged it with her love and I couldn't move it because if I moved it I would break the charge. And I'm like,
that's wild.
Real wild. And you know, for a year straight, I didn't shake anybody's hand, I didn't hug anybody, because she would draw sigils in the palm of my hand. She would draw sigils on my chest. My wife's name is tatted on my chest. She would draw sigils over her name, draw sigils on my face, and I never knew what she was doing. She was very, very slick. She was a very, very smooth talker. She had the softest, sweetest voice. Like, she's crazy because she was pretty, but she wasn't anybody that if I saw out in public, I would be like, damn, she fine as fuck. She just a regular ass, pretty fucking female. And I don't think with my dick, so I didn't give a fuck. But
right.
when I was under, she was the most beautiful thing ever. And I remember how I felt like everything about her was perfect. And when a man fucks a woman based on how that woman makes him feel about her, I would imagine the same thing for a woman. You know, if you can make that woman comfortable and feel and get her out of her head, she'll fucking suck your dick with your fucking balls in her mouth and fucking swallow all that shit. Once she got me out of my comfort zone and I felt like, you know, she was mine and you know, we were meant to be together, and I was on some shit. I did some shit to her, you know, and I remember the faces she was making, you know, while I was fucking her, and part of me was like, you're making shit worse. But whenever I would try to stop, like it felt like I was a passenger in my own vehicle, if that makes sense. So it's like I knew that the shit was an issue, but I didn't have any control over what the fuck was going on, but I saw everything. I don't know, it was very confusing, and I was gonna do a video on what it was like to be under, but I didn't want to talk about the shit because I mean, you know, I didn't want to go back to that moment, but I know that it would help people to learn, but
right.
I didn't want to fucking talk about that, man, but it's very, very confusing, you know.
100%.
Best way I can, like I said, you're a passenger in your own vehicle. You see everything, but you have control over nothing, and it's like, I remember a lot of it. I remember we was having sex one night and there were spirits standing all around us and I could see them. And I remember being fucking terrified, man, because they felt so damn dark. And it almost felt ritualistic. And I'm like, bro, this is not it. Bro, she would sleep like a baby laying next to me and I would just sit up and just look at the things in the corners, staring at us. And I'm just like, what the fuck have I got into? A spirit spouse would attack me from time to time. Whenever there was a point in time where she really did fall in love with me. I don't think she was faking that part. I think she was really in love. She just had a very fucked up way of trying to grow in love. She relied on magic. I was beginning to have her go to therapy because I told her, you know, if I come back to you, you're gonna get your ass in therapy. And she began to heal herself. She began to do shadow. Because remember I told you she did everything I told her to do except leave me the fuck alone. But she would go to therapy and she was getting better and she was beginning to read the Bible and she was really becoming a different person. And when that began to happen, a spirit spouse came in and attacked me. And her spirit spouse came in and threatened her. The spirit spouse told her that if you continue messing with him, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill him. And every time she saw me after that, the spirit spouse would be getting closer and closer to me. And she told me, and we eventually left, because of that. It all happened simultaneously. It was on a Wednesday. I remember it like fucking, it was on a Wednesday where God cut the cord for good. I don't know what happened, but in that moment, he said enough. And I felt a wall come down in my spirit and the cord was cut. And I felt this instant relief. And when it got cut, she looked at me and she was looking like she was fucking terrified. And I told her, get the fuck out. Get the fuck out, man. Like, I'm back to myself now. Get your shit, get the fuck out. And she left and I felt her trying to pull on me every night. I felt it every night. I'm talking about sexual dreams and feeling shit come in and out of the room. And she was very adamant, man. I started to speak to my wife. I know I mentioned my wife and her a lot. I was not cheating on my wife. I was not. Me and my wife were separated for over a year. And we fucking hated each other. She was going through postpartum and it was a very difficult time. But I began to have cravings for my wife again. Like strong cravings. So the love spell she was putting on me to make me crave her, I was craving my wife. And around this time, my wife began to crave me as well. So we came back together. And during the twin flame journey, there is a separation period. So that was our separation period. And I came back to her, man. And it was crazy because it's like all the feelings that I thought I had got rid of towards her, they came like, if you take like a gallon of water and pour it into a fucking glass, that's how I felt. It's like everything just began to fucking fill up and I just began to fall in love with her all over again. And everything I felt for the other woman just kind of vanquished. And it's like, well, I don't know what made God come on a Wednesday, but fuck it. I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining at all.
How long were you guys separated?
Me and my wife?
You and your wife, yeah.
Yeah, it was over a year.
Okay. I'm
Over
still trying to figure out this. I love my ex-husband. I definitely don't think that's my situation. But it's a really confusing situation because I struggle with it. I struggle with knowing I have a control issue. I'm a Leo. I have control issues.
My wife, I know.
And there's a couple people I think that it could be. But I also, like I said, you know, like after I got divorced, I did kind of be a hoe. I mean, like I just kind of was like, you know what, fuck this. Like everybody called me names, so I was just like, well, you know what, just dive into my lower self and just be what everybody said. And so because of that, I really confused myself on that journey. I didn't search for love, inner love. So now, like, I really, I struggle with the twin flame thing because I can't tell if this is, I'm happy with myself now, right? Like, I have my self-worth. I know who I am. I know my authentic self. I know what I need to do to be a good woman for myself. And obviously a good woman for my husband, whoever that may be. It doesn't matter. So I wear a ring just to kind of, have that internal and outer, like, my husband's here. I'm living with that knowledge that I'm acting the way a wife would act. I'm not going to act out of pocket. I'm not going to act like I'm for the streets or nothing like that. So with the twin flame, like, I really struggled if that was even real or if this was some kind of like demonic trick or, you know what I mean, to take me into distraction. Because I was so distracted on, like, who's my twin flame? What is this? You know, because I wasn't searching inner. I was just seeking outer. You know, I have a lot of abandonment issues. So definitely, like, always self-seeking outside myself.
Right.
And that the twin flame thing, that's really a struggle sim for, well, I don't want to say just like for all women, but I know for me, like, it's confusing. It's super duper confusing. So I've just gotten to the point where I'm like, you know what? Screw twin flames. I'm married to God right now. Yeah. Me and God's just wiping my slate clean. You know, like I'm a bride for God. Like, go ahead, just make me a good woman again, and you know, like, whatever my person will be attracted to. As much work as I put in towards me and my relationship with God, obviously my person's just gonna come in on their own, and I didn't really know if twin flame was real, to be honest, or if it was some kind of false illusion.
Your other half, it does exist, but I would say this. I think that, you know, I know for me, I found my wife. You know, because I was manifesting her and she's manifesting me at the exact same time, even though we didn't know each other. It's just that at that particular time, we both aligned to one another. And then 4 years later, when I met her, I knew her. Because I've been with her in other lifetimes as well. And my spirit
Did you guys ever come across each other before?
She saw me, but I didn't see her.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And how far was that between y'all actually meeting each other?
I said about 2-3 months.
Okay, so she like kind of got she got intuition. Obviously, yeah. She's a Leo, so she probably got real good intuition.
She's very gifted. She helped me get out of the situation with old girl, so she's very gifted. She kind of helped me be the man I am today. I don't want to give her too many props, but it is what it is, man. She's a very spiritually gifted woman. Very spiritually gifted. I ain't gonna take that away from her. She helped me be the man I am today because I was gifted, but I was very narrow-minded, if that makes sense. She's a very much free thinker. She kind of helped me see things a little bit more. But when I met her, I told her on the first date, I'm your husband. And I looked at her and I was like, you're my wife. I said, you don't know it yet. And she just fucking smiling and cheesing and shit. And I'm like, I recognize your spirit. And she knew and I knew. And I mean, hell, I think I think a month later, I gave her a promise ring. And I told her, I promise you that I'm gonna marry you and I'm gonna be the best version of myself for me and for you. And a year later, I proposed to her during a game of Marco Polo. So we was at the park and you know, it was her turn to come and find me. And she got up off the swing and I didn't go too far from her, but I was directly behind her, like I said, about 20 feet. And she was like, Marco, and I'm like, Polo. When she came to me, she was like, I found you. And when she opened her eyes, I was on fucking one knee. Ring in my hand. And
cute.
I had the camera set up to record the whole thing, man. She broke down in tears. Oh my God. But yeah, I married her a year later and we've been locked in ever since.
And when you guys met each other, do you feel like when they talk about twin flames, is there really a feeling when you come into contact with your twin?
Yes.
What did that feel like for you?
It was supernatural. Every woman that I come into contact with, I always ask God, essentially yes or no. And he's always told me no, always. But with this woman, she was the first woman he ever told me yes to. And I was so confused. Because I'm like, you sure? Because you done told me no to everything else. And I done had some fine women. So is this one a yes? He told me, yeah. And I asked like 10 more times for different signs. Each time, I ain't bullshitting. I asked like 10 more fucking times. And he gave it to me. And once I got that yes, I didn't hold back. Everything that I had been working on for 4 years in myself, I gave myself to this woman. But the crazy part about it is, I spent 4 years healing. She didn't. She was still, all the fucking work I had did, she hadn't done none of that shit. And she a fucking fire sign, so she was a motherfucking lunatic. But that's how it is in twin flame relationships. You have the fucking runner and the chaser, and that's what it was. And I got my ass kicked for like the first 3-4 years. But I was just like, yo, this is not what I signed up for. And every time I tried to leave, God would tell me to go back. And anything that I created outside of me and her got destroyed. And it was essentially God telling me your appointed place of duty is with your wife. Anything that you create outside of her will be destroyed. And whenever because me and her were separated all the time. And whenever I would even speak to other women, like it would be great, it would be good, and then one day the women would just lose their fucking minds and it would fall apart. And God would tell me, go back. And it's a very powerful relationship because me and her have done some supernatural shit too. Like I don't talk much about what me and her do because it's my wife, but when we manifest shit together, shit's happen. You know what I'm saying? Shit happens. That energy is fucking potent.
Right.
It's an energy of love and light, and that shit is something. But
are you guys? You say you have a kid with her?
Yeah, we got 2.
Do you feel like do you have more than 2 kids?
I got 3.
Okay, so this is personal. I'm nosy. I'm sorry.
It's fine.
Because I have 3 boys, do you feel like the kids have different, I don't want to say light, but like I know my oldest is definitely a karmic child, and that's because he's teaching me the most, right? And that's what the karmic kids are. They teach you the most. I was a karmic child, so I was the oldest daughter. Do you feel like the children are different with your twin energetically, or?
Yes, 1,000%. So my daughter is teaching me how to be a gentleman. That girl used to call me gentle all the time, but my daughter is really teaching me to be gentle. My daughter is a very, very, very emotional child. And you spoke about karmics. Both of my children are Aries. All of our birthdays are in the same week.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fire sign in one house.
Yeah, I know. And you best fucking believe we go at it, all of us. You fucking best believe it. Like, my wife and my daughter, they argue like grown women.
I believe it.
They argue like grown women, and it's like, she's just like her. They're just like each other. That's why they fight. And me and my son, he don't fuck with me when he don't want to be bothered. I don't fuck with him. He watches his tea, watches his cartoon, eats his Cheetos and shit. I don't bother him. When he wants love and affection, he come and holler at me. That's the dynamic we got. He's a very, very chill guy. Very chill guy, man. When he covered in shit, he'll come to me. When he want to eat, he'll come to me. He's very laid back like me. So my son is like a reflection of me, and my daughter is a reflection of my wife. The emotions, fucking temper tantrums, they're just alike. Shit. I told my wife in the beginning, I was like, everything you did to me, you gonna pay through our daughter, because she gonna take your ass down through it. And like I told you, whenever I would leave my wife, God would always come to me and tell me, go back to her. Didn't matter what she did, because she was fucking in the beginning. Everything I avoided, she was. Like I said, I took 4 years to heal. She didn't, and I manifested her. She asked God for a man that could handle her, and I was that man, but she wasn't ready for a man that can handle her. She wanted to talk back and be defiant and do this and do that, and she wasn't ready to be a wife, but she knew that she wanted to be a wife for me. So she tried. It's just that I had to be patient. I put it to you this way. She loves sunflowers. So I would always call her my sunflower. And I asked God, why was he taking me through all of this? Was the 4 years I healed not enough? Why do I have to endure more? And he said, you asked me for a sunflower, and I sent you the seed to one. So now you have to water it, plant it, nurture it, watch it, and kind of guard that flower until it grows up into the flower you asked me for. And that sounds all poetic, but I ain't want to hear that fucking shit. I ain't want to hear that. You know, goddamn girl was tearing me up, man. I didn't hear that fucking shit. But I understood, you know, because it taught me agape love. You know, as chosen ones, we have to learn to love the way God loves us.
Right.
And that is difficult, man. Loving somebody is easy until they hurt you.
Right.
Until they hurt you.
That's society's love. That's that society love that it teaches us. That's why there's this one thing I said a couple years ago about this one who I do believe is a warlock in his own right. But he did teach me. So he taught me that love is sacred. And that means every ending, and it didn't matter if it ended, that person, you loved them for a reason. That love doesn't go away. And if it goes away, then you didn't really care about them. You were using them. And so that's how I tried. I'm a big lover. I'm a Leo. Leos love. We love just wholeheartedly. And so like, I love everybody. Like you'll get love. And so like, I totally understand that. Like, I think that's like the masculine part where like they have to learn how to love, to give love in a way that's totally not how society teaches men to love, as in women have to learn kind of in the same way, but oppositely, because we are taught we are supposed to love everybody. We're supposed to, you know, like we're supposed to be the caretakers. We're supposed to be the nurturers. And while yes, we are, we also deplete ourselves of everything because we don't give that love back to ourselves. So that's why, you know, God, I believe, like forced me to internalize my love, because I was spreading that shit to everybody and not leaving nothing for myself. And so then, you know, like, and I believe, you know, like the masculine has to learn what love looks like for them, because they don't even know what a non-societal love looks like beyond providing and, you know, that logic-based love. This is going to be a totally illogical kind of love.
Yes, I am a very logical man. Like, and my wife, in the beginning, we still bump heads about that. I am not an emotional-based man. I don't act off emotions. I don't move off emotions. But as a man with a daughter, an emotional daughter, you can't be hard all the time, you know? So she's teaching me too. If I look at her a certain way, she fucking breaks down. Oh, God. But I'm learning to be a hard man when it's time to be hard and be a gentle man when it's time to be gentle. So balance. Balance is one of the hardest things that conscious people have to learn.
Right.
I think it is the number one hardest thing you have to learn.
Absolutely.
Because there's a time for war, there's a time for peace.
Right.
And if you are a warrior, every day, every second is war. If you are a peaceful person, every second of the day is peaceful. Right. But, you know, if somebody fucking breaks in your house and they're trying to harm you and fucking do things to you, they ain't got no business, you can't be peaceful about that because they brought war to your fucking doorstep.
Right. I always think about a samurai in the garden.
Yeah, man. You need to fucking knock on that door to your lower self and be like, come on in. I need you to take care of this for me. But when you're done, go back in your fucking cage. And that's how it is. Kind of learning to love both sides, because your lower and your upper self, they are both you.
Right.
At one point, I hated my lower self because the son bitch was just homicidal and horny all the time. You know what I'm saying? But there's a time for that. Even the horny part, shit, you know. Even the horny part, when it's time to fucking to punish some, to pound some shit out, I let them come on out. And when it's time to get violent, I damn sure let them come on out. You know, but the balance.
Yep, 100%. That's that warrior shit. Trying to figure out how to be in that space where you're, you know, like you are a warrior of God, so you're of the light, but you will fight for that light.
Yeah, you will. You fucking will. But if you had to offer any advice to the people listening based off your experiences, what would you say to them?
I guess the biggest advice is to find self-worth in your authentic self. And being that person, regardless of what society deems pleasing or worthy. I've learned that my self-worth lies in how I treat myself and how I treat others based off of self-respect and authentic, like that authentic behavior of myself. My boundaries are big. So I'm very big about, I'll be myself, and I will allow you to be around who I am unapologetically, as long as you respect my boundaries. Otherwise, you're gonna move away from me. And thanks for, like, I definitely learned some stuff too. So that's cool. I appreciate that.
Of course. It was an honor having you as a guest.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. You take care.
You too. Bye.